side, I think.
It's just a training, so you're not actually using it.
Just trying to get your foot in.
Maybe a different band?
Oh, I got it.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Bryce Markle-Amaral. I'm a competitive rock climber and just some random guy that likes making videos. So in this video, I'm just gonna go over some simple tips and steps that I normally take when I hit a climbing plateau. I know it can be super frustrating sometimes because like you're feeling like you're working hard, but then you're not really seeing the results translating to climbing and all that. So hopefully you learned something from this video that'll help you get out of that. And again, this is just what has worked for me. I'm in no way a professional, definitely not like a sciencey, numbery type person that like, I don't even know if sciencey is the right term to use, but just that knows everything that's going on within all the different parts of the body. That's just not really how my brain works. And obviously just take what you want from this video, combine it with things that you learned in other places, just use it to improve yourself in your own way, you know? So a lot of people will come to me and they'll be like, Bryce, I need you to help me get better at climbing. And now that's a really wide and open question, which is totally fair because they just want to get better at climbing, right? That's the sport that they want to get better at. So I understand that. But in order to get better at the sport, we need to figure out what you're bad at within that sport, right? So first thing I tell them when they ask me that is I ask them what their weaknesses are. What things are they struggling with as they climb? Because only from there will we be able to know what they need to work on to see that improvement, right? And I fall into this all the time. If you keep working on the things that you're good at, you're still gonna be bad at the things that you're bad at, and you're gonna be like, I've been putting in all this work, why aren't I getting better? But you haven't really been practicing what you're bad at, which is tough because it's not always the most fun thing, at least initially. So step one, find out your weaknesses. Now you may already know what those are, or at least some of them. This will be more easily done if you're climbing indoors, just since it's a more controlled environment. It'll be easy for you to know exactly what you need to work on. The same concept can basically be applied to people who only climb outdoors. But in this specific sense, I'm gonna talk about it as in indoor climbers, which then can utilize the skills that they learn to climb outside. So step one is you're gonna figure out what colors or grades that you climb in the gym. Now I want you to find something that you can do maybe like half of the ones in the climbing gym and maybe half of them you're kind of struggling with. You're kind of like falling a lot on a bunch of different moves with them, right? I just want you to take a day where you just get into the climbing gym, bring like a notebook if you're more of a person that likes writing things down. I'm definitely that type of person. You can also use like a phone or anything that you can take some notes on, right? So I want you to go warm up, obviously, climb at that grade or color that we just talked about. And every time you fall on a move, I want you to write down exactly in as much detail as you can what the move was like that you fell on. So if you fell on a move that it was your right hand in a Gaston and you're trying to reach out with the left hand, write that down, right? Or maybe it's a left heel hook on an overhung wall. So be as specific as you can so that you know what things you could possibly break down later. So by the end of this, you should have a list of things that you fell on. Step two, you're gonna analyze this list that you have. Your goal is trying to find patterns or similarities between all of these different points. And I bet you're gonna start seeing a lot that are very similar. There could be multiple routes that you're falling on that Gaston move or struggling with that heel hook. But I want you to take that big list and start condensing it into things that are similar, right? So maybe like things that are more like shouldery movements, so like the Gastons. So I want you to take this big list, find the similarities, and then condense it. Step three. So this is the fun part because now you know exactly what you need to work on in order to get better. So obviously from here you can already go into different research about those specific things that you're struggling with. I'm going to give you a few examples of how to improve on certain things that I often see a lot of people struggling with. I'm going to give you the basic format of how I want you to orient your next training program. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at elevation. I'm here with Ethan.
What's
you
up?
know, in some of the other videos that we had, like the Dino Comp one, and then maybe some ones where we're at the garden and stuff. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you different things that people often struggle with on the climbing wall. And then we're gonna translate that to exercises that you can do, whether that's on the climbing wall as well or in the weight room, just anywhere where you're gonna be utilizing weights and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the plan. Got any input?
Nope.
Are you excited?
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun video to film.
I called him up. I was like, Ethan, what are you up to?
And I was like, literally nothing. I was at the gym 10 minutes later.
Problems, I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The foe in affection, I summon and dumb it. Cause bitch, I got problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The foe in affection, I summon and dub it. Why you be all on my line about nothing? Why won't you go get you $1 or something? Don't hang with a who line for nothing. I see that we different, you riding, I double. I don't do discussions on bragging about hundreds. Don't go to your places, I know that they sunken. Don't call me your brother, I barely could trust you. I talked to a shorty, she bagging the bugging. And I'ma need all of my dollars on purpose.
So now we're just gonna go over the format that I normally follow when I'm making my training program. What I like to do is I try and find 2 to 3 exercises that'll be utilized to help me improve on those climbing weaknesses. And then I'll just go in 2 to 3 times a week and train those things. So I first try and find a weight that's good for me, whether that's body weight, weight taken off, or weight added. And then you want to warm up until you hit that weight reduction or weight liposuction. It's been an ad the whole time.
We're plugging some plastic surgery here.
So you just want to warm up and then get to a point where you can hit between, I want to say like 5 to 7 reps of, and that'll be your working set. Okay, so once you know that number, write it down, and that'll be your working set for the next few weeks. And you're just gonna do 3 sets of that 5 to 7 rep range of each exercise that you have. So each of those 2 to 3 exercises. And that's pretty much the main format that I follow for all of my workouts. And I would recommend going in, doing like a test week almost, and trying to find that first initial number that you added, like the weight number that you added or the weight that you took off. So then the next week you can go in and be like, okay, this is what I need to warm up to do. And then you just knock it out, right? And then in a few weeks you can retest, do that like 1 week test thing. See if your weight's changed so that you can constantly be improving, right? And again, like this video, come back to it every time when you're in a plateau, like to reference. You wanna be constantly in this circle of finding your weaknesses, improving, finding those weaknesses, improving. This definitely isn't like a one-time thing, you know, it's a repeated process. And I said this in the beginning of the video, but you know, working on your weaknesses won't be the most fun thing always. Sometimes it might be embarrassing being bad at something at first. That definitely happens for me, especially like heel hooks was and still is a big problem with me. And going into the gym and rolling an exercise ball on my heel and feeling pain, like you can feel it kind of on the inside a little bit, like with the pride a little bit, but I hope that your desire to become better at the sport that you love is greater than this small moment that you need to overcome in order to get better at it. You know, it's gonna get more and more fun as you get stronger with it. So I just encourage you to continue working at your weaknesses regardless if it's tough at first. It will get easier, it will get better and more fun, so.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, Ethan has some tips too that he's kind of working through.
Yeah, so one thing that I noticed a lot is, especially on my own climbing, was that right at the beginning there was a really, really steep improvement in my climbing skill and ability, and then just like a very, very hard flatlining plateau. Whether that be at a certain grade or at a certain time after climbing. I think a lot of climbers experience that, and it can get really discouraging to just see a ton of improvement and then just nothing for a while. But I think it's a good point to not let yourself get too down on that, and know that even if you can't visually see it, that you still are actually improving, and the more time you spend in the gym and that you're constantly working on your weaknesses and stuff that's going to make you better, you will see improvement.
I agree with everything that he said. Like, I mean, it can be pretty detrimental to the brain, you know, when you start overthinking, over-expecting of yourself, you know. And I think there's a difference between having a thought process of what you can be and be happy and enjoy the process of getting to that point, rather than when you don't hit those checkpoints to get to that end goal, just keep like depleting yourself. You know, I think there's a distinction to that. There's a line to that. So I still struggle with it. I'm sure Ethan still struggles with it. It's kind of like a natural thing, but I think once you realize kind of what's going on, you can kind of think it through a little bit. It'll hopefully help you take a step back in those moments that you get frustrated, and help you think about the big goal, the big picture, you know.
Yeah, and the process of actually, you know, re-looking at your weaknesses every few weeks or so can help keep the training and the climbing, it can help keep it fresh, so that you're not just constantly, it's not getting stale doing the same thing over and over again. You know, you have maybe 3 weeks from now you've trained lock-offs enough to where it's not as big of a problem for you, and you can go and train something else. It just helps keep keeps your mind fresh and not stale.
In all of these workouts that we're showing, we try to show a range of skill levels, so whether you're more of a beginner or an advanced person, as well as since some of these exercises you're utilizing weight, like that can just keep on bumping up essentially. So as you improve, that can be accentuated with the amount that you're working with. So yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing to constantly try and find your weaknesses. And again, like these aren't the only exercises for these specific things. This is just what I've been doing and stuff, and there are more research out there for other workouts that may work better and stuff. So do your research, take the time to really be a student of the sport and being able to figure out what you need to do to improve.
When you're trying to find your weaknesses, a lot of times you can't always see yourself climb unless you're filming yourself. So I find it helpful to ask other people what I'm bad at and to help me find pointers that I can improve at. So when I'm climbing with Bryce, hey Bryce, can you point out what I'm doing awful on this route? And it usually helps to really pick out the points you need to train.
And as Ethan said off camera and stuff, I think a big thing is ego sometimes, and like just getting rid of that internal ego of thinking that people are gonna judge you or anything like that. Like really, climbing's a fun sport, people love it. Being able to create this community that it doesn't really matter what grade you climb, it doesn't matter how good of a climber you are, but as long as you're working hard, like if someone's working hard on a V0 and pushing themselves, I give them just as much credit as someone working on a V10 or V17, you know? I think there's that respect that kind of has to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's it.
That is it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Big thanks to Ethan helping me out. Hashtag BringEthanBack.
Yeah, comment that under the video.
Has worked. He was in the past DynoCon video, your guys' favorites. But yeah, there's links down below to different protein powders, climbing gear that I use. You can check that out if you want. Have you ever done my outro?
I have never done your outro.
Okay. So you go, keep up that unseen training and believe in the vision. And then you slap the camera.
Bam.
Okay.
Okay,
You ready?
All right.
So,
All right.
keep up that unseen training and believe in the vision.
That's cool.
Sick, man. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was the best.
Okay.